Hello, everybody. I was going to say happy Tuesday. It's Monday. I normally do Zoom calls on a Tuesday, but it's definitely Monday. I got confused with my days there. Hi, everyone. Debbie, I can see Debbie, you were on. Let me close this. Sorry for the double noise there. My goodness, what is that? Oh, we're okay now. That was not a good start. What? Ah, okay. What a false start to our call. I'm going to restart that. So, hello there. Happy Monday. First of all, I didn't know what day it was. Then I had Facebook open in the background, which played the noise. Then I had YouTube pinned somewhere else in the background, which played my voice as well. Everything's gone. You had three Lauras there. Now, I'm just going to bring my Facebook back and just double check everything is okay at that end. But I'll put the sound off for it. Let me see. I'll check on my phone actually. But while we settle in, do say hi. I love to read all the comments. I love to know who is on live with me. There we are. I'm still okay, I think. Pinned the featured. Yes, we're still singing and dancing Facebook. How is your day going? To see Debbie, you're doing cardio. Some of you are catching up, maybe in other places. I've got Tammy, not Jason, on. It's always so funny, Tammy, when people join on Zoom or especially on Zoom and they'll have like their kids accounts and some like real funky names for usernames or on Facebook. Yeah, we've seen some interesting usernames over our years. Okay, everything's working. I can't see Facebook, but everything's working here. Oh, Sandra, you're on as well, and Ellen. Good. So hello to everybody. We are in week 2 of Buns and Guns. If you are doing Buns and Guns, some of you are just joining to find out a little bit more about the app, and I will answer all of your questions. And some of you are just starting the app and you're kind of doing your own thing with the meal plans and the trainings, and we're having a whole mixture of fun with everybody in it. I've got questions on the infographic, which were in the Facebook group, maybe about 8 questions, which is good, which I will dive into. Really, really good questions. I was very pleased. It's good when you've got good questions as a coach, you can really sink your teeth into, and just anything else that comes to mind, put it in the chat box. No, I'm not on Zoom. Oh my gosh. Put it in the comment section. Get it with it, Laura. You're on YouTube and Facebook, not Zoom today. And I will do my best to jump backwards and forwards. So anything that comes to mind. And other than that, just have a chat and make yourself at home. For anyone doing Buns and Guns or anybody, no matter what your training program is, it is a Monday. I love to do a bit of a check-in on a Monday. Tell me in the comments, how was your first week of Buns and Guns? Like what went well, what didn't go so well? If you are doing your own thing and so to say creating your own program with the app, your own training and recipes or meal plans that you're using, how did last week go? Same thing, what went well, what didn't go so well. And if you're still just browsing the app, getting to know it, or you haven't even got it yet and you want to know anything, even just tell me again, what training or meal plans or foods are you following at the moment, so we can really sink our teeth into it. Okay, let me get my questions up here, as you can give me some little updates at the side. Right, so I'm going to dive straight into the questions and I'll keep my eye at the side. Selena Prescott, you have asked, hi, I have a 7-day holiday in week 3. So this is Buns and Guns in case you're not part of the app. There's no gym and I don't have equipment, so planning to do the body weight workouts while I am there. I was thinking of training in the gym on my rest days before I go to minimize any losses. I think this would be a good idea, but just wanted to check if my thinking is right or if there's a reason not to. I'm wanting to really go for it, this challenge as my third one, and I'm determined to see it through to the best of my ability. I don't want to regret anything in 8 weeks' time. So I love your energy. No regrets as you come into your challenge. And that is really the thing. You know, it's Selena's third challenge. For some of you, it'll be your first challenge. And it can sometimes just take you a while to get into the groove of these. And you sort of learn from your mistakes as you go. We learn from our failures. And it can really get us to be a couple of challenges in before you're like really ready to hit the ground running. So to answer you, Selena, I was thinking about this question. I was looking at all the questions before I came on. If, for you, I'm going to guess I'm gonna make a guess you're doing the 5-day training program, because you sound like you're like taking this challenge very seriously and you want to have no regrets, and you sound like you want to be in it to win it. So what I'm gonna give you is like the in it to win it advice, to be in the well, there's no top 10 with this, to be the winner, the chance to be the winner of the $10,000 of the Buns and Guns program. So if you're doing the 5-day program and you're going on the 7-day holiday, the answer is that you could train. So say you normally train Monday to Friday. So let's keep it really simple. Let's imagine Selena's going on holiday, a beautiful holiday on a Monday, and she's training at the moment Monday to Friday. You could train on the Saturday, Sunday if you really wanted to. But to be honest, in the terms of in the idea of muscle building, it really isn't going to make that much difference. The reason that I'm saying that you could do that is more so that it might just make you feel good, make you feel like you squeeze all of those training sessions in and you give it your all before you went away on holiday, because what you've said is, there's no gym where you're going on holiday. There, you don't have any equipment with you, so it's just the aspect of maybe fitting all those like extra training sessions in before you go away might make you feel good. In the term and the way of muscle building, it's not really going to do anything. It's two sessions that you're cramming in at the end of the week when you're probably pretty fatigued, pretty tired. You could do, say, like an upper body on the Saturday, just choose some exercises from through the week, and then you could potentially do another leg day on the Sunday, but you're going to be quite fatigued from the leg day on the Friday. So they're maybe not going to be the best sessions, but I'm just giving you the advice of you could, in the way that if that would make you feel good before you went away, then you could go for it. At the same time, if it's going to completely wreck you before you go away, then I'd be like weighing it up. So it's kind of, how is it going to make you feel? I would kind of make a decision that way with it. What I would really want you to focus on, and this is the in it to win it answer. You've asked me a lot about your training before your holiday and training while you're on holiday. And training while you're on holiday, you could do the follow along programs. You're telling me the body weight, there is body weight exercises in the follow along programs, but just in case you haven't watched them, they're not all body weight. Like, they are designed to be done with something in your hands. So whatever you could maybe grab in your apartment if you're staying, or in a hotel, I don't know, like shampoo bottles, like something to add some weights. Maybe there's items in the room, you could like hold a chair and squat it. I don't know, your kids. Your suitcase, you could actually put stuff in your suitcase and like press it if it's one of those like little ones, or squat it. I would encourage you to be quite ingenious with how you could add load to your workouts. The best way, and you do sort of have time, well, you've got a little bit of a week before you travel, because I think you'll be away next week. The best thing would really be long looped resistance bands. If you were happy to invest in a set of them, you can pack them easily in your suitcase, and then that way you could add some weight to your workout. So that would, again, if you want to be in it to win it and stand on plan when you're on holiday, that could be something that is going to help you feel focused and help you feel, again, that you're sticking to the program. But what I would say, if you want to be in it to win it in the way of this, yes, muscle building, but there's only so much muscle that we can build in 8 weeks. But really, it's a shred. So it encompasses everything. It's muscle building and it's fat loss, adding it all together. So you've asked me specifically just about the training, which makes me think that maybe you think the training is the most important thing for you to stick to while you're on holiday. If you want to really have no regrets with you saying that, that's going to make me give you the answer of like the in it to win it. What you really, really want to be looking at is how you can stick to the cardio when you're away, and how you can stick to the nutrition when you're away as closely as possible. So what I really want you to look at, and I'd love you, Selena, check back in this comment section, check back on the threads and tell me, but what I would be looking at is food first and foremost, because that's going to be the trickiest part. How could you stay as on plan on holiday as possible? Is it that you are going to be able to eat to one of the meal plans that you've chosen, and that's what you want to? So you're going to have to look ahead to the hotel that you're staying at, and try and find the food options. Is there a buffet? Is there restaurants? Is there ways that you can order food from there? Are you going to be staying in an apartment block or like an Airbnb or something? where are the local supermarkets, if you're going to be doing self-catering, that you can find, the proteins that you need. Are you going to bring protein powder? Can you bring protein powder? You normally can, but what would that look like if you were to bring protein powder on a plane? How are you going to pack it? What containers? How are you going to label it? When it comes to the food actually in supermarkets and stuff, then you're looking at, sort of your protein, your carb sources, and then your vegetable sources. Could you get those in relation to your meal plan, or are you going to create your own meal plan, but still stick as closely to the calories and macros when you're away? That can take quite a lot of research and thought process and even prep. I don't know if you are a vegan, but a lot of our vegans actually travel with seitan because it can be quite tricky to get seitan in many locations, but easier seems to get tofu when you're traveling, but definitely not seitan. And I know we have a lot of well-seasoned travelers within our communities who travel with their protein powder regularly without a bother, but you have to put in plastic bags and really label it. And they might have to just double check it's not drugs at some point and do like a little test of it. But even when it comes to protein, they've literally traveled with like coolers, like ice packs and seitan, and brought it in their hand holdalls and everything with it. So definitely that could take a bit more brain power of history. I'm sorry to break it to you to look into. Then, and what I would say when it comes to the food, you're definitely not going to be perfect when you're trying to stick to a shred plan when you are away and when you're traveling, but just the closest that you can, you want to stick to it. Cardio, let me think, with Buns and Guns, you guys are going to be at 2 times 35 minutes cardio a day. So then I would be working out, where are you traveling to? What is the temperature? If you're going somewhere warm, on average, the hottest temperatures in that mid part of the day. But in some places, it can really start to heat up even quite early on in the day. So I would be trying to get my first cardio done as early as I could in the morning, and then my second cardio done later on into the evening when it is cool. Now, there's another aspect of that. I don't know where you're traveling to. Is it going to be safe for you to go out and do cardio? Just all these little things you kind of have to think about. Could it be that you maybe are going to do one of the HIIT workouts or the follow along list cardio workouts that we have in the app, and you're going to actually do your cardio in your room of your hotel or your apartment? So there's always ways that we can work around things, either cardio outside or cardio inside. But the nutrition and the cardio are actually, in the grand scheme of things, the things that are going to make the biggest difference in this shred program, to you sticking to the plan while you're away, if you want to have no regrets. And if you don't end up doing it, like, don't have regrets either. You only live once and you're going on holiday. But it's not the training. The training sort of bottom of the priority list, in my eyes, of trying to stick to that when you're traveling. If you want to be in it to win it, it's going to be the meal plan, sticking to the nutrition, getting your cardio in, then it's going to be the training. So I've given you a lot more to think about than what you asked for, but that really is the most important things I think you should think about when it comes to it. Because I want you to be in it to win it. I want you to have no regrets. I'll just read some comments that appeared here at the side on YouTube. So it's asking how everybody is feeling, especially the members who are part of Buns and Guns. So Sandra, Damiana, you have shared extremely exhausted, never done so much cardio before. Oh, you poor thing. So Sandra, you won't be on your own. There will be other people who have not done as much cardio, as much training, as much, meal prepping and sticking to your program. And it's good, because think about it, like, this is a challenge. That's one thing I'll say for anybody who, if you're in our challenges or you take part in any of our challenges, you just have to really go into it with the attitude and the expectation that this is a challenge. It's going to be hard. It's meant to be hard, because you are choosing, by joining one of our challenges, to chase the dream, chase the goal of transforming your body in a very short period of time. Whether that is one of our 4-week programs, our 8-week program, which is running at the moment, Buns and Guns. We've had some longer programs as well, 12 weeks, 6 months. But it's very hard to get people to stay committed for 6 months. So we're finding at the moment, especially if the menopausal woman, it's nearly easier to crack the whip and get you working hard for a shorter piece of time. It's quite hard to keep. It's hard to keep anybody motivated over 6 months. So we're really finding our sweet spot of our 8 week challenges or our 4 week challenges have really proven popular with our menopausal members, just to get in, get the work done, and get out again with your amazing results that you've gotten. So it's very normal, especially in the first week, to feel tired. Kim always uses the analogy, it's you're like a growing toddler, and really treat your body like that, especially if your challenge life is different to like your everyday life. Maybe last week you didn't do any cardio. You were just grabbing food on the go, like you were stopping at McDonald's for breakfast, a fuel station for lunch, or like the work canteen. Dinner was just like a microwave meal and half a bottle of wine because you had a really stressful day. And you have a gym membership, but you went like once a month. And that was that. And you were happy with that. It was good. And you were just muddling on through. And then now we flip in a space of a couple of days to training. You're either training 3, 4, or 5 days a week. Cardio is 2 30-minute cardio sessions a day, and it's every single day, plus all this meal prep and eating to this plan. It's a lot. Like, it definitely is a lot. So the best way I can always just recommend for any of these things is to expect it to be hard, expect it to be tiring, and just to really lean into it and really embrace it. Because if you want a different body at the end of this, if you want something different than what you have right now, you have to do something different to get it. If for any of us, if we look down at our body, what we see on the outside is what's been going on the inside, what we've been putting into our body, the energy that we've been putting in through food, the energy we have or have not been expending through exercise. And it's not as simple as that. There's a whole other feast of things on top of that, like the likes of menopause symptoms, injuries, illnesses, other life stressors which have went on, which just can really get in the way of your desire to maybe live a fit and healthy life, but just hasn't been so easy recently. But what we see on the outside is a big reflection of what's been going on the inside for the past days, weeks, months, even years. So there is only so much that we can do in 8 weeks, but we're going to try our best by working really, really hard and just really putting the effort in and the work in. And the beauty with the app is the what do you do next? Members in any of our shred programs are always asking, what do I do next? What do I do next after this shred? We just have this like 8-week program and it's done. Like, the program's just done. It's never done because people could keep performing the program, but they always just feel they want something new. But what's new? You've got over 100 training programs. So you could change up your training program after the Buns and Guns challenge is over for some motivation. You've got over 450 recipes in the app. We've got general meal plans as well as the shred meal plans. You've got so much there to help maintain the results that you get, but you have to work really hard in this space of time to get that transformation. And the more you lean into that hardness, like, nothing in life comes easy. Sure, it doesn't. Anything that you're really proud of, you really are so proud of achieving, or how you've ever changed as a person and been really proud of it. Well, for me anyway, it's always come from like hardship, doing hard things, a lot of pain, but coming out the other side, and I never would change anything. So we do have that with our challenges. They're definitely a physical challenge, a mental challenge, and also an emotional challenge. So they will change you in many ways. So Sandra, I say bravo, because you're putting the work in. So to feel that tiredness, good on you. Good woman. You've got it going on. But do try and keep hydrated, stick to your food, and, rest when you need to. I know naps can sound quite luxurious, and they're maybe not that realistic that you can take a nap during the day, but do try and sleep more and rest more when you can. And I know that's really hard as a woman. Very, very hard to rest. There's always plenty to do and plenty of people wanting us to do stuff for them, but try and be selfish for you if possible. Debbie Hanosh, you have asked, I was wondering if this Buns and Guns, a 4.0 challenge, is more of a build than a shred program challenge, because I've noticed that the first 3 weeks we stay at 1,500 calories, and at week 8 we will be not eating at 1,200 calories as in the past. It's a really good question, Debbie, and I know you're on doing your cardio. So let me think how to explain this. I can hear poor Kim next door. I've got the Ethernet cables. I think I'm hogging the internet in the office, and she's having a nightmare in a meeting next door. But I've got the good internet, which we need for this coaching call. This is this live Q&A. For the shred, so this shred, our buns and guns, this is 3 weeks of 1,500 calories, 3 weeks of 1,400 calories, and 2 weeks of 1,300 calories. All of our shred programs have in common that we have a training program which is very consistent the whole way through. We have cardio that either starts high and stays high the whole way through the program, or we have cardio which starts lower and it gradually increases as we go through the program. And then we have a shred meal plans or shred calorie and macro amounts which drop as we go through. So we're creating that fat burning effect because that is all that fat is. It's basically stored energy. So we want extra energy, increased energy going out, and we have that in our training and our cardio, and want decreased energy coming in, which we have in our calorie deficit. And then we'll have to get more energy from somewhere, and it's going to be our fat stores, which is what we want. So Debbie, I'm thinking of your question, you're a bit worried. We're not dropping the calories as low as we have before, so we won't need the energy from those fat stores. What I want to get across with your question, Debbie, and I'm so glad you asked it. I was like, oh, this is such a good teaching point. Something that we're really trying to teach in general in the sculpted menopause, but also really keep at the forefront of mind when it comes to our shred programs. I feel like I'm going to discount Selena's question here because I was poo-pooing the strength training for Selena's question, and now I'm going to be bigging up the strength training for Debbie's question, but I'll clarify those points if I need to. What we see and what we know, because we've helped hundreds of thousands of women transform their body. And Debbie, I'm sidestepping here, so I'm not talking specifically about you, Debbie. I understand why you're asking your question because the calories are different than another program. But on a sidestep sideways to the question to what we commonly see when women want to create fat loss. When women want to shred body fat and they want to lose fat, and I used to be this person as well. What we think, and I'm including myself in this, is that to lose body fat, to drop body fat, to shred, that we need to eat less and less, eat more and eat less, which I kind of just said there, didn't I? Which is what we're doing in our programs, but there's a little bit more to it. So a lot of women's default, and it's been mine as well for a very long time, even the years when I should know better as a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for 18 years. So I can't even just say it was when I was a teenager, like definitely in the 20s as well. It's sort of my default I'll go back to, but I need to keep reminding myself as well. What we find, and especially when women come to join the Sculpted Menopause app, we've got our amazing macro calculator where you can choose the goal of losing body fat. And what we find is a lot of women have been coming into the group and they're like, help, there's something wrong with the macro calculator, or like, help. And there's just not, a lot of the times the macro calculator is broken. There's something wrong with the macro calculator. How do I fix the macro calculator? They've put in a goal of fat loss. They've put in a timeline of that fat loss. And what has happened is that the app has told them how many calories it's going to take to lose that amount of fat in that amount of time. And for these women who end up coming in, and it might have been you, and it was me when I was playing about with the app, I was like, oh my gosh, why am I getting these crazy low numbers? Some people have got crazy low numbers. And I mean, like 90 calories, 400 calories, 700 calories. And I discovered this myself when I was playing around with the app. And I was like, oh no, we're going to have we're not having a problem with this. But I knew it was going to catch some people out. But the lower the calorie amount that the member comes in and with that broken macro calculator, the more I know that they've had this massive fat loss goal and they have had this tiny period of time to lose it over. And the calculator is just like a calculator. It's just a piece of equipment. It can't think, it can't read your brain and understand why you want this goal, but you want this goal, but not actually have to eat that little to get this goal. But the calculator tells you what you would have to eat in that time period to achieve that goal. And for some women, it's spitting out some very low numbers. We always go back to them, myself and the whole coaching team, and we're like, hold on a minute, let's back it up, go back in, have a play around with the calendar. We wouldn't ever recommend people go below 1,200 calories. So just really want to reiterate that in case you are someone who has experienced that with the macro calculator, or yet to experience it with the macro calculator. If you get calories that are below 1200, then you do want to just keep trying to come back and trying to lengthen that goal. Maybe that is the amount of fat that you want to lose, but try and lose it over a longer period of time. But what I want to add to this, something that we're telling all of these women, and for Debbie, this is how this came into my mind. What we're trying to really get across in connection to your challenge question, if you want to, in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, so we're in our peri to post menopausal era, if you want to lose body fat, you want to manage your body fat, you have to focus on building muscle. It can't just be about eating less and less to lose body fat. A lot of you, myself included, have tried it so many times over the years. And it's probably not got us very far, is it? It's probably something that you keep trying and you just still don't have the physique that you want. Like, many of you won't have the physique that you want. This is why you're here, and we're here to continuously help you with that. So what we're really trying to get across is, yes, we can eat in a calorie deficit to get results, but really what we want to teach you in the Sculpt and Menopause and as part of the Buns and Guns Challenge is how you can build muscle and at the same time lose and manage body fat is by building muscle. So when it comes to building muscle, how are you going to do it? It's going to be from hard and heavy strength training, whether that is in the gym, whether that is in your home gym. If you're training at home, keep trying to kit out your home gym as best as possible. Search on social marketplaces, Facebook, Gumtree, Craigslist. There's I've given away so much free gym equipment over the years. I just wanted it out of the house and rid of it, or very, very cheaply. Keep trying to add to your load, add to your equipment. We're in the office I'm in the office / studio at the moment, and Kim is recording home workouts, and she's been using, these reels heavier. Like, she's got 5s. There's some 15 kilograms, 10 kilograms. She actually has a 30 over there. Kim is recording a lot of new dumbbell workouts and training with weights that she nearly would train with in her gym at home, or in the commercial gym that both myself and Kim train in. But she's trying to really set that example of training at home, but still training with some real badass and heavy weights, because you have to keep taking your body to true muscle failure. In the gym, causing mechanical damage, that when you're training, you're ripping the muscle fibers apart, so that when you rest and recover, which actually happens at sleep or at rest, they knit and repair themselves. Or at home, you don't have access to as heavy weights as you do in a gym, so you're more training for metabolic stress, where you're going to failure with still trying to aim with as much heavy load as you can, even if it's not as heavy as the gym, trying to get a well kitted out home gym like Kim has brought in here, with the 30 kilogram dumbbell, the 10 to 15 kilogram dumbbell that's over there, so that she can keep facilitating some form of mechanical damage. But we're also then working with metabolic stress. This is where the metabolites in the muscles basically kind of shake about the place and they get damaged that way, to then again repair and to grow. And you train at home with less rest and also more reps to create that metabolic damage. Either way, we're trying to create damage, which sounds pretty weird when it comes to looking after your body, but that damage has to repair itself, and that damage builds muscle. And that's what we want. That's what we want, because it gives you a beautiful curvy physique of muscle, a tone, sculpted. You don't have to envision bodybuilder. You don't turn into a bodybuilder by accident. Like, I have been a bodybuilder and I never got as big as I wanted to. Like, it doesn't happen by accident. Definitely does not happen overnight. You're not going to do like one gym session and wake up the next day like the She-Hulk, or like Mark Getty, one of our coaches in the company. It takes years of trying really hard, but it takes years, to be honest, even of just trying really hard to build some good, sizable, noticeable muscle that, makes you feel good when you put on a pair of jeans and it's kind of tight in all the right places. To put on, a vest top like this and feel confident maybe in your shoulders, and not feeling like your upper arm is jiggling about or anything like that. It can take quite a while. Muscle building is a lifelong process, which is why we are constantly preaching it and singing it from the rooftops. How does this connect to losing body fat and managing body fat? Muscle, it's live tissue. Think of it either like live tissue or think of it even like an engine, and we need to fuel it. The more muscle you have, the more fuel it needs. What is our fuel? Remember what I said earlier, body fat is just stored energy. So the food that we come in and then we eat, that can be used to fuel our training. Our BMR is our basal metabolic rate. It is basically the energy that our body needs to keep our body ticking over and to keep our body alive and well at rest. If I just sat here all day, got people to bring me food, drink, I don't know if I put a catheter in, I didn't even walk to the bathroom, I just peed here on the spot. I literally did not move. My BMR would be my basal metabolic rate of what is needed just to keep everything ticking over optimally. Muscle, live tissue, the more muscle I have, the higher my BMR is, the higher amount of calories is needed to maintain all this muscle, to feed this body, your body, at rest and keep everything going. So if more energy is needed to keep all of this going, more calories are burnt in a day, more energy is expended at rest without you having to do hours of cardio, without you having to live in the gym. You're just being you, looking shit hot with your muscle, looking good, and your body's just like this little furnace, fueling all those muscles, expending more energy as it goes through. That's what we're really trying to drive home in our programs and in Buns and Guns, in the way that, yes, to actually answer Demi, we are not dropping the calories as low as we have in the past, that we've dropped into 1200 calories. But we also don't have a refeed meal. We used to sometimes have refeed days, and then we dropped it to a refeed meal. We don't have a refeed meal because you don't need it. Because as Debbie said, 3 weeks we're at 1500, 3 weeks we're at 1400, and 2 weeks we're at 1300 calories, which is the lowest amount. And I know for some of you, those calories aren't far off what you've maybe been normally eating, and we need to sort that out. But there's still that drop of energy coming in at that same time as that energy increase with the cardio, that you are challenging the metabolism and keeping everything going over there. That is going to create that fat burning effect. But we really want to drive home, it's not just all about how little can we eat, how low can we drop our calories to create massive and maximum transformation. It is about the strength training as well, and training as hard as you can. There is only so much muscle that you can build in 8 weeks. There's only so much muscle that you can build in 2 days, which is why I answered Selena as I did, leaning her more towards the way of focusing on her cardio and her nutrition while she's on holiday to stick to the shred plan. But we really want to get you just ingrained that strength training as part of your life. To not strength train in a week would be strange. It'd be weird, that it would eventually, hopefully, all of these habits that you're building of the training, of the cardio, of the meal prep, the more that you do it, there's always a tipping point when something is new, then you just do it so much that actually if you didn't do it, that would feel strange, that would feel weird. And that's where we're trying to really, really get you with the strength training. So Debbie, please do not worry. You're still going to get an amazing transformation for this. There is another aspect as well, that people are never perfect when they stick to meal plans. And for me as a trainer, it's always about adherence. So there is always an aspect of, we could just give you a diet plan of 1200 calories for 8 weeks, but not many of you would stick to it. So there is another aspect of, 1500, 1400, 1300 calories. Is that more realistic for some people to stick to? Hopefully, yes, in the way that they won't need a refeed day or a refeed meal. Sometimes when people have a refeed day or refeed meal, it can turn into a bit of a cheat day. They kind of end up going the other way of binging. So we're just really hoping this amount of calories will keep you on track. At the same time, it's a good amount of food to keep fueling your workouts, but very long explanation short. The whole moral of my story is that to lose body fat, to manage body fat, let's not, in general, in the whole of the app, let's not focus on just eating less, dropping the calories as low as possible. We really, really want to focus on building muscle over the long term. Let's take it even deeper than aesthetics. It's going to help with, protecting your bones, to help with protection, around osteoporosis, osteopenia. Cardio is going to be amazing for helping to prevent osteoporosis or osteopenia, because again, you've got that impact the more you have impact on the end of the bones, it helps stimulate bone growth and keep that nice and healthy as well. And then also sarcopenia. We have to really be aware of that. As we age, we want to fight back against sarcopenia. So we want to be building that muscle for that reason as well as the fat burning. It's a win-win. Muscle for fat burning, muscle for looking good, and sarcopenia and helping with our osteoporosis and osteopenia. I'm going to head back to my questions. I'll read some little things here at the side while I find my questions. Where am I? Here. Revi, you have shared, it's Kathy, another mysterious username. My first week went not well. I wasn't committed. Week 2 started completing 2 important tasks, training and breakfast logged. Huge accomplishments. Can't believe I did it. Oh, Kathy. Kathy did the most amazing honest post in one of the Sculpt and Menopause app groups this weekend. I loved reading it, Kathy. And she basically just was really honest about how she didn't follow the plan last week and all the things. She just listed off all the things she didn't do, and just that she realized she just hadn't done them, and there really wasn't too much of an excuse or rhyme or reason why she hadn't done them. And I loved it. And I'll say to you what I said to Kathy. Oh my gosh, I was like, this is just so good. And you could be like so good, like she didn't follow the program. We shouldn't be saying it's so good. But it was so good in the way of her honesty. Because what happens so often, and I have been this person, is a lot of this is the bodybuilder that I was. Like when I was a bodybuilder, I used to be a secret eater. But I was a secret eater with myself, with myself and other people. So I would have my meal plan and my set of calories and macros to stay to by the day. And I was spending a fortune with a prep coach who was prescribing me my shred meal plan, and who I'd go to see each week for a check-in, and like binge eat about 5 chocolate bars on the way there because I was a really bad binge eater back then and really bad emotional eater. So yeah, they were always wondering each week, like, why is this girl not losing any body fat? The plan I prescribed her. But I would have my fitness pal and I would go through my day and I would log the perfect day of eating. You know, I would get my pie chart to line up perfectly in the app, the percentages to be exactly on point, logging all of my foods as I went through the day, but those weren't all the foods that were going through my day. I did eat my meal plan, but I also would eat packets of chocolate bars, you know, bags of sweets. I was constantly binge eating the whole way through my day. At times, like, you know, drive through McDonald's. But that did not go on my fitness pal. I genuinely was a secret eater, even with myself, that if it didn't go on my fitness pal, it didn't happen. And I was doing it quite well. Inwardly, I think I was doing it quite successfully. Outwardly, my coach just knew that like something wasn't quite right here in the way of, you know, the plan they give me. You know, it's bodybuilder science. You know that if this person does this thing, they're going to have this outcome. Like it is what it is. This gives this. It doesn't give this. It doesn't make them not change their body at all. But I always remember my ex-husband, he was a personal trainer and he was doing a same bodybuilder prep at the same time. And I remember he went into my car to get something out of my car and he found all these chocolate wrappers like stuffed down the side of my car. And he was like, what are these? And I was like, I don't know who those are. Like, they're not mine. I don't know how they got there. Like, and I would like slam the car shut and like run into the house. Like I couldn't admit to myself, never mind to him, that I just was constantly eating chocolate, constantly binging and eating on my diet. But as long as I didn't tell my fitness pal and I didn't log it there, it wasn't happening. I just would lie to myself. And I did that of so many things. So much of my life, I have lied to myself and been completely out of reality. And I don't know if anybody else does it here and would care to admit, but there's my confession of the day. I definitely have done it. So, Kathy, what I really, really loved about you was just that you laid it all out there, all the things you hadn't done. And I just loved it because, number one, what Kim always teaches in our company to our whole team, all our coaches, and what us to encourage you to do, and something she's really transformed in my life, number one, is failure is how we learn. Like you've learned, Kathy, you learned so much last week, you know, about what you didn't do, and then you've the chance to reflect on the why. I'm just going to actually bring your comments up here. You've said here, training and breakfast logged, huge accomplishments, can't believe I did it. So from massive failure becomes massive learning, which can create massive success. And the other point with that of why I loved Caffrey's honesty so much is recognition and I've lost the word I'm looking for. Awareness. Awareness of an issue, an awareness of a behavior that you do. Anytime that I become aware of my behaviors, that is the first step to changing that behavior, because you're being so honest with yourself and you're just seeing it for what it is. And once you see it for what it is, no judgment, it is what it is, that is where that you can change it. So Kathy, I'm really, really, really proud of you. I think you actually had a really good first week in the way of learning, and I know that you're going to bring that through to the rest of the program. And we love that. Always know that you can come into any of our communities, you can come into any of our coaching calls, and you can confess all your sins. We will never judge you. We will never make you feel bad. We would rather that you did that. You come in and you tell us what went wrong, where you messed up, where you fell off the plan, how you are feeling, because that's the person we really, really want to work with. That's the person we need to work with. That's the real you, not the super shiny, you know, you've got to hit all your workouts, and you bravo, like please do keep trying to hit all your workouts and get your workout streaks and all your points in the leaderboard and all that thing. And we'll praise you when you do that, but we'll just as much praise you when you don't do that, because we need to work with both sides of the coin, all of the aspects of you and your personality and your life to really help you change all of that, because you're not a one-side person. You're just human, and we're all human here. So we like to see that. I am gonna come Selena Prescott. This is a good question. So you've got 2 questions in today. I will give you this one. If you can't lift as heavy because of tiredness, etc., but you still go to failure, will it still have the same effect? So this is another good question. In the way that it depends what you mean by tiredness, because a lot of the time when we're tired, we're mentally tired, but we're not physically tired. But the mental tiredness makes us feel physically tired. So there is an aspect of, if you are mentally tired, but actually your body's not physically tired, and you're training as hard as you can in that session, will that take you to, if you're not physically taking yourself as far as you can, will that build muscle? Ish. But at the same time, if it's the most that you could do in that session's always better done than not done. But we do always want to be trying to push ourselves as hard as possible in any of our training sessions, whether we are experiencing physical tiredness or mental tiredness or emotional tiredness. And sometimes it's all 3. I feel all of them. You always, well, number one, the most important thing, and Selena, I'll praise you for this. It sounds like even when you've been tired, you've been still training. So that's amazing, because we really want to keep trying to push through when we're tired. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. So I'll actually backstep that a little bit. A question that always comes up a lot is, do I train if I'm sick, or do I train if I'll not go down the sickness route, but I'll keep it sort of peri to post-menopause. We've got a lot of tiredness symptoms. Even like right now, I am 18. I'll be 18 weeks pregnant this week. So I am feeling good now heading into my second trimester, but oh my gosh, like my first trimester was just hell. I was happy to be pregnant, but I was not happy. I was not enjoying. I was happy I was having a baby, but not enjoying having the baby at the same time, if you know what I mean. At the start, I was so hot at night, like my body temperature was up. I was so hot. I was waking up multiple times during the night, multiple times because it was too hot, multiple times to pee. Then I never vomited. I just have had sickness, but it was sickness from like day to night, and especially got worse like mid-afternoon. It got worse and heading into my evening. Brain fog, like just the baby brain, just from the tiredness, then like the sickness. And what else? Oh, migraines. I got like 3-day migraines where like one of my eyes was twitching and closing over. And some days I had all of it. I had all of it on top of it. So it gave me a new understanding of pregnant women, but it gave me a way to connect with the peri to postmenopausal women. Kim and I had a good laugh one day because I went to record a workout, and I realized halfway through, it was one of the follow along workouts for Buns and Guns. I realized halfway through that I hadn't even looked at the camera once. I was just teaching to the laptop, like I was teaching on Zoom. So you would have had a workout where like my head was down the whole time. I was not even looking at you. And I forgot reps, I forgot sets, I forgot exercises. I just had a complete disaster. I had to re record the whole workout, which didn't go much better. It definitely went better than that. But what Kim was laughing about, Kim was like, now you know what perimenopause feels like. It's the same thing, baby brain, perimenopause brain. It's just the changes, the fluctuations in hormones, especially estrogen. It can just cause that brain fogness. So I have went from pre-pregnancy, this super consistent 4 days a week strength training, bodybuilder, come rain, hail, shine, storms, like anything. I would have been at Mark Getty's gym training with him, sickness, health things, family emergencies. I very, very rarely cancelled. So actually, I did end up finishing my training with Mark. Now that was separate to anything to do with Mark. Just I've moved houses. I now live an extra 30 minutes away from where Mark's gym is. So I just needed to get an extra 60 minutes back in my day. I am pregnant, but also my mother has cancer at the moment as well. So there's a lot going on in my life, and I just need a little bit of time back to kind of sort myself. But while that was my first motivation from it, I also am glad I've done it in the way that I am now a lot more in charge of my training schedule. I'm training pretty consistently now 3 days a week. I'd love to get back to 4, but they're not always on the same day. I used to always train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. Whereas this week I'll probably train Tuesday, Wednesday, and then maybe on Friday. So I need a bit more flexibility. Just I need to listen to my body more than I ever have before. And the way that my body is, because there's a baby now, I have to think about it. It's forced me, because I'm not very good at listening to my body sometimes. And I think you can listen to your body too much. But it has given me a new understanding of what it could be like, with those menopausal symptoms going on, not sleeping well, the sore joints, the tiredness, the low mood, the anxiety. There's about, I think there's like 55 menopausal symptoms, and maybe you're experiencing none of them, maybe you're experiencing all of them. And there's definitely a lot more flexibility that I need in my training sessions. And there's definitely a lot more compassion I've had to have of myself, that my training is just not what it used to be, but I am trying my best. So Selena, to me, it sounds like you're trying your best because you're still training, which is amazing. What I would get you to ask yourself, and get anybody to ask yourself, it's just a really good question to ask yourself in general. Always, once you've finished your training session, ask yourself, could you have give it any more? Could you have, mentally go through the exercises that you've performed in that session, and just really think, especially in the final set, in those final sets of every single exercise. This includes the gym, home gym, and follow along programs. I'll put the follow along programs actually over here for a second. So for the gym and home gym programs, just really, really ask yourself, did I go to failure? Did I really go? And in that squat, did I squat until I literally could not, like if I'd done another squat, like I would have fell on the floor. I would not have been able to get myself back up. Those final reps when I went down, like it took me maybe a good 6-8 seconds to get back up from that squat. You maybe performed a shoulder press, and in that final, your final reps of your final set, like you tried and you tried and you tried for so many, again, like 6 to 8 seconds, and you just couldn't get those weights up. And the final reps of the final sets of each of those exercises, did you take your body to the point where you couldn't move it anymore? And it's just a really good practice to do in general, because maybe it's a yes, which is great. Maybe it's a no. And then you can really start to think, is that because of, mental tiredness? Is that because of physical tiredness? And then what I would be looking at is, how can I fix that? How can I look at that mental tiredness? Is it, are you training at the time of the day which best suits you to train, to push yourself, especially if strength training, to that? It does require a lot more Mental energy. My preference is to train first thing in the morning, at a push lunchtime. Oh my gosh, I hate training at evening times because I just can't be bothered. And I do let myself off the hook. I do make excuses. I don't push myself as hard because my brain is just mentally taxed and I don't have that mental energy as much anymore. So for me, definitely training in the morning is best because it suits both my mental and my physical energy. When it comes to cardio, you can do that anytime. You can just sort of half-ass that. You don't have to think about it and get it done. So I would be reflecting on that after each session. And then if you reflect on that session, then if it wasn't what you wanted it to be, then you can start to ask yourself why, and ask yourself why as many times as you can. And what can you do to fix those whys? What are those things that you can do to really, really help try and solve that solution? So looking at the physical tiredness or looking at the mental tiredness. So it's your question is a bit of a, will it have the same effects? Probably not, Celine. It does sound like you've got more in the tank, but at the end of the day, you can only ever do what you can do. But I would look at what can you do to kind of help that support you to get the best sessions that you can. But as long as you're just doing the best that you can in each one, then definitely keep going it. Follow along programs. You want to be really thinking about, any of the programs that I'm taking you through, Kim's taking you through, Amy's taking you through. You want to be trying to do as many reps as possible and trying to take as little rest as possible. We're keeping you right with taking as little rest as possible, but you need to be in charge of trying to do as many reps as possible to chase that failure. And then also look at your weights. I've seen a little question that comes up here. Linda said, yes, menopause makes you pace more, so there's a balance of parasympathetic nervous regulation and sympathetic stress. How does strength training work with the vagus nervous system? So strength, I would, I don't, strength training is not something that I would look at in the way of trying to manage our parasympathetic nervous system and our sympathetic nervous systems. We're trying to get that balance of, not always being in flight or flight or not, or, and getting that balance of the rest and digest. But there's a lot of worries when it comes to menopause and nearly like this leaning, like women should always be, menopausal women need to always be nearly like in this rest and digest state of body. And if there's too much stress, it's going to affect their cortisol levels. And there's a lot flying about. So I'm not saying that you're saying this, Linda, just in the menopause world, there's so much that flies about cortisol levels, and it's the cortisol and it's the stress that are making a lot of women, women can't lose body fat. And our experience is women aren't moving as much, and they're eating more and they're moving less. Think about it even now, what I just shared about myself in pregnancy. I am eating more for sure, and I'm also moving less. I'm moving less because I just don't feel as good. I felt sick, I felt tired. It's not that the fact that I am pregnant has made me, I've not chosen to just change my training and drop my training because I am pregnant. It's been how I've felt. How I've felt has made me, choose to amend my training. I haven't been able to do it. And there's like, and a lot of the times in menopause, it's not like the hormone changes specifically or the cortisol levels specifically make a woman put on body fat. Well, it kind of does with the hormones, but struggle to lose body fat. A lot of the times it's the behaviors change. We start to move less because we're just not feeling very good and we're not feeling great. So I would be looking at, managing your, rest and digest and, looking after like that parasympathetic nervous system. You want to look at getting that from other aspects, meditation, yoga, breathing, relaxation, like doing things that you love and enjoy. But we want to put the body under good stress. Good stress is good for the body. So I wouldn't, when it comes to strength training, I'm not worrying about stress symptoms or anything. You need to build that muscle. You need to push your body. There has to be this balance of pushing hard and resting. And when it comes to the strength training, that is where we do want to be pushing hard. We want to be building the muscle, as I've shared earlier, because it's going to help with the fat burning. It's going to help with, protecting our bones, helping decrease sarcopenia, the loss of muscle. That's also going to help with aesthetics as well. But, we can get a rest from other places, but it's important we're not sitting with our feet up all the time. So we do definitely want to be training hard when it comes to the gym. Let me see here. I'm going to grab some little things. Gonzalez Lil Barb. If shortened time, is it okay to do HIIT instead of cardio? For sure, you can choose any of the HIIT or list cardio when it comes to using the app. How many days a week is ideal? That is very dependent on your goal. What is your goal? If your goal is to lose more body fat, do more cardio, more body fat in less time, do more cardio, do as much as you can. If your goal is just to lose like a little body fat or like not in that much time, then maybe 3 to 5 times a week. If you want to lose a lot of body fat and more time, then you're looking maybe 5 to 7 days a week cardio. It really, you need to decide on your goal. Choose your goal, and then you can work backwards from that. Claude Baudres has asked, does the cardio session really need to be twice a day or one longer is fine? I'm not going to spend too much on this time because I addressed this one last week. At this point where the cardio is 2 times of 30 minutes a day, you could get away with like a 60-minute session of cardio as long as you can stay in your fat burning zone for the majority of that cardio. So it's an optimal cardio session. What I find personally, and if I find it, I'm sure a lot of people find it, when I start to go over 60 minutes, my cardio starts to become ineffective. It's not optimal anymore. I start to find that I'm dropping out of my fat burning zone more quickly, and I'm having to work harder to get into my fat burning zone. So I'm just tired. So as the time goes on, to be lumping these double cardio sessions into one cardio session, I just would be really, really mindful that if you're starting to push it over that 60 minutes, your cardio could start to become not as optimal. And then it's kind of like, what's really the point in doing it? The most important thing is not that the cardio is done. The most important thing is that the cardio is done efficiently and effectively to be in that fat burning zone, to cause that fat burning effect. Otherwise, we'd just be telling you that you could just go walk your dog for an hour, go for like a little walk around, go for a walk up and down the beach for like 70 minutes, a little stroll. It's not a stroll. We're going for, working hard in our fat burning zone. Arms are pumping in the power walk. You are aiming for any of the cardio. You could talk to somebody, you could hold a conversation, but you maybe have to take some breaths while you were talking to them. That's what we're looking for in the level of intensity. And that just gets harder to maintain that when you start to head over that 60 minutes. Renee Green Myers has asked, this is a really good question. Really good questions today. Thank you so much. I'm doing the 5-day program. I went from intermediate to advanced because I wanted the biggest transformation. This first week was hard. This did make me giggle. After day 3, I was so spent after work. I felt like I was a wet noodle, which is a good description. I overslept 2 days and barely made all 5 workouts in 7 days. But this is the first time I've stuck to my meal plan exactly, which is amazing. So well done, Vernay. Congratulations to you. Her question is, should I stick with the 5-day advanced or drop to immediate? Will that even matter if I truly go to failure in each workout? So the reason that I'm so glad you asked this question, it's not that the advanced is going to give better training, like muscle building results than the beginner or the intermediate. I'll explain to you how we created the programs. The beginner was created and how I created it. I imagined in my mind a newbie to the gym, a beginner in the gym, someone who's going to walk into the gym. It's taken them they get a gym membership like every year, and they always go like 2 times and then they cancel it and they never use it. They feel really embarrassed when they're in the gym. They feel like everybody's looking at them. They feel really self-conscious and they want to hide away when they go into the gym. So I thought about how someone would feel when they're a beginner in the gym. And then I chose the exercises which I would feel like a beginner would be most confident to do. So there's a lot of machine exercises because a lot of the time machines tell you what to do, they show you what to do, and you sort of don't have to set up as much for it. There's body weight exercises, and then also there's a little bit of dumbbell and barbell, but not too much because beginners, once again, can feel quite nervous going into the free weights area. So for a beginner, that's going to create maximum muscle for them, because it's going to be something that's going to help them be confident, gain their confidence in the gym, feel good, and they're going to be consistent with it. For the intermediate, who the avatar, so to say, the person, the image I had in my mind was a woman who'd been training for a couple of years, if even. Might not even be that long, could be like a year or so, but she walks into the gym and she's confident. She feels pretty at home at the gym. She's now, walking in, she uses the machines. She's quite confident, using the Smith machine now. She'll go into the free weights area and use the barbells and dumbbells. And, she doesn't matter if she drops a weight. She doesn't matter if a machine makes a noise. She knows by now that not everybody's looking at her in the gym. Everybody's doing their own thing. And she's happy to do it. So the exercises reflect that. When it comes to the advanced, it is designed as the person who lives in the gym. It's their second home. They've trained for years, or they haven't trained for years, but they just built their confidence up really fast. And the type of exercises that are in there's the Smith machine, there's the cable machines, there's, they're exercises where you really need to go get a barbell from there, go get a bench from across the gym here, get the Smith machine, and hog the Smith machine for a couple of sets and tell everybody to go away because you're using that machine. It's for a confident trainer, the exercise selection. So within each of those categories, you do just want to find the place that best suits you and how you train. So for you, Renee, maybe the intermediate is enough. If that's going to be the one that you're going to do the most consistently and train to failure, because you kind of answered your own question there. So bravo to you. You know the principles of muscle building. If that intermediate was enough for you, it was already helping you train to failure, you'd feel more confident with it, you'd be more consistent with it, and you could just keep pushing your weights higher and higher with that intermediate plan, then potentially that could be the one to stick with. So there's no better results between each one. The better results are going to come from the one you can be consistent with, and you can just basically push as hard as you can within that one. That could be any of them with it. And last one today, I'll just wrap up super quick. Pavlina, you've asked, I'm tired. I was exercising with Laura in the EM or EBM, but could not keep increasing weight as I keep struggling more as more time went on. Now I'm sticking to upper body with the 5 and 7.5 kilograms, but can't use the 10 kilograms as I could at the start of EBM. Any reason for that, please? So, Pavlina, it's hard for me to know. I don't know, because I don't know from this. Is it that were you always training with 10s in EBM and you've been consistently training with 10s right up to this point, and suddenly you're training with 5s and 7.5s? If the answer is that no, you haven't been training with those 10 kilograms the whole way up to this point, and you've then been experiencing this drop, then this drop probably just has been happening because you haven't been training with that weight consistently up to this point. Let's say she has been training with that weight consistently up to this point. You have just started your message saying that you're tired. So maybe there's something going on with your life at the moment that is affecting your physical strength, emotional, mental strength, and you just are feeling like you can't lift those 10s. Why not try them? If you've got a selection of weights, in the follow-alongs, lift those 10s, lift them for 1 rep, lift them for 2 reps. You can put them down and then lift the 7.5 or 5 kilograms again. If it maybe is the tiredness that is affecting you, maybe you've been lifting the 10s consistently the whole way through, and you could just be experiencing that. Maybe if you're doing any of Kim's workouts, any of Amy's workouts, they could just be using different rest periods from what I was using in EBM. They could be using more reps than what I've been using in EBM, and a different sort of training design, which could be affecting what you're feeling as well. But I would just say, really try those 10s. Don't just decide you can't lift them anymore, even if it's hard. If that's what you want to get back to, even try them for a couple. Ditch them and then pick up the 7.5s, or ditch that and then pick up the 5s, and you can kind of work for your weights that way. There's no harm in trying. So not really quite sure why, but hopefully that's given you some options and some solutions. I'm going to love yous and leave yous for today. Sorry for the weird start where I was everywhere, Facebook, twice on YouTube. Bit of a disjointed start. Thank you for joining me on YouTube. Thank you for joining me on Facebook. Really good, juicy questions. I love them. Please keep them coming. The graphic goes up in both Facebook and app community on a Friday, giving you all of the weekend to get your questions in, and do keep me busy because they were really, really good ones. Have a great week. Good luck for Buns and Guns too. Good luck with whatever plan that you're working on. And if you're just having a little nosy and you have any more questions about the app but you haven't joined yet, what are you waiting for? Let us ask your questions in the group and we will answer them for you, and yeah, get you all sorted. Have a brilliant day. Have a lovely week, and I will see you next week. Thank you.